Hello, I'm Grayson Ottaway. Welcome back. This is Marvelous Videos. Deadpool Anatomy Explored, diving into the details of the most unique physique in the Marvel Universe. While Deadpool is one of the most popular Marvel heroes due to his over-the-top personality, his physiology is also what makes him an exciting presence in the Marvel Universe. Deadpool's regenerative factor is one of his most intriguing characteristics, and there are a lot of theories revolving around exactly how his body functions and up to what extent he can regenerate himself. Today, we'll dive into all the details of this anti-hero's anatomy and explore the elements of his unique physiology. Before we go into our explanation, a small request. If you like our content, we ask you to please support us by subscribing to this channel. Small click for you, big for us. Means a lot. Thank you. Let's get going.
Give me your best shot, One-Eyed Willie.
Solving the riddle once and for all. Is he a mutant? While some fans believe Deadpool is a mutant, others disagree with this view, since he did not attain his powers due to a natural mutation like Hulk or Spider-Man. Deadpool's powers resulted from being tested on, and he actually received his powers from external agents. Now, one can certainly argue that he already had these powers, and they only showed themselves after these experiments. However, this does not seem to be the case, as writer Rob Liefeld and Marvel have stated that Deadpool's powers were created during his experiment. Initially, Deadpool did not possess his regenerative healing abilities when he was first introduced in the New Mutant comics. Deadpool's powers were explained in the Deadpool and the Death Annual comics, wherein Deadpool meets Death at the Department K medical facility. While Deadpool's cancer keeps getting worse, he enrolled in the Weapon X program that experimented with his cell growth. While Deadpool was stuck at the facility, Death was getting ready to kill him, but she later changed her plans since Deadpool started showing his healing properties. While Wolverine's powers were also altered by the same Weapon X program, he is considered a mutant since he was born with these powers, and the program only enhanced them further. Since Deadpool's powers were actually created in a lab and not inherited at birth or due to a natural mutation, he cannot be classified as a mutant, even if fans would like to believe him to be one. What makes him immortal? Deadpool's regenerative healing abilities enable him to heal himself from injuries ranging from minor wounds to something as severe as decapitation. Since the anti-hero can regenerate his body parts without restrictions, one can assume that he is virtually indestructible and immortal. However, are his regenerative powers strong enough to enable him to dodge death time and again? The question is answered through Deadpool's connection with the being known as Death, who is Marvel's personification of the concept of death. Moreover, this story also involves the mighty titan Thanos, who is a part of a love triangle including Deadpool and Death. While Thanos loves Death, she desires Deadpool and hopes that she can have him after he dies. In order to ensure that the two never get together, Thanos decided to curse Deadpool with his regenerative healing ability that would never bring him close to death. Since Deadpool's powers were disguised as a curse by none other than the mighty Thanos, his regenerative abilities are far superior to most superheroes, as he can even regrow an entire head or heart by using his so-called curse. In a recent Deadpool The End comic in 2020, a time skip to the future showed that Deadpool was the only surviving superhero on Earth due to his curse. Various other comic storylines also follow a similar pattern, wherein this cursed anti-hero is depicted as an immortal being. From a different angle, Deadpool attained his regenerative healing factor after getting involved in the Weapon X program to get rid of his cancer. The experiments in this program resulted in him developing a healing factor that grew newer cells to replace the dying ones. However, this factor did not eliminate the cancer from his body, as newer cancer cells kept growing to replace the old ones. In this manner, Deadpool was cursed with cancer for life, but the new cell growth managed to regenerate his body, and he could face the most severe injuries without dying. Of course, there are a few comic stories wherein Deadpool is either missing or dead, which indicates that he is not immortal in every universe. In the history of the Marvel Universe, two beings named Galactus and Franklin Richards are the only people who have survived the Universe 616, and Deadpool is presumed dead. However, these are alternative futures and universes, and Deadpool remains to be near invincible in the mainstream universe. Some ways to get rid of Deadpool. Since Deadpool has his powerful regenerative factor and superhuman speed and strength, one wonders if he can actually be eliminated for good without possibly regenerating himself. However, there are a few ways to get rid of the anti-hero. These ideas range from a variety of theoretical possibilities to some dark magic to even obscure plans involving the gods. Thanos had once even killed Deadpool quite effortlessly, but the anti-hero was brought back to life by Death, who had feelings for him. Out of jealousy, Thanos decided to curse him with his regenerative ability, so that he would remain eternal and never come in contact with Death. However, the Mad Titan is quite capable of killing Deadpool again, and he is one of the few beings capable of getting rid of Deadpool forever. One of the plausible ways of killing Deadpool is by getting rid of his curse that gives him his regenerative healing factor. Since Thanos had inflicted Deadpool with the curse to live an eternal life, getting rid of the curse would make him incapable of healing himself, and he would eventually die. Some ways of turning off his healing factor would be seen by using a special serum or by bringing him in close proximity with the mutant Leech, who leeches off others' powers and turns them off. The steel, known as carbonadium, can also be used in a blade to kill him, as it has properties that cancel out Deadpool's healing abilities. In one similar case, Loki managed to find a magical hammer that could negate Deadpool's healing factor. Loki has fought against Deadpool more than once, and the Asgardian god once even drove Deadpool to madness by cursing him with a new face and then creating chaos in his life until he reconciles with his father. The story arc sent Deadpool into a state of confusion as he was forced into strange situations, and he was even unable to kill himself. Another way of killing the anti-hero would be by curing him of his cancer, so that his regenerative healing factor does not get a chance to develop itself. Since Deadpool's body works in harmony with his cancer to create new cells at the same rate at which his cancer eliminates the old cells, his body can grow new cells without exploding or blowing up. If his cancer was cured, it is quite likely that Deadpool might struggle with the growth of new cells, and he might become deformed or even explode after a certain extent. In the MCU, Deadpool's death resulted from a planet dropping on him during a battle. If all these techniques fail against Deadpool, then eventually one would have to bring out the powerful Sentry who rips people apart in space and then tosses them into the sun. In a related manner, Deadpool can also be killed if his entire body is disintegrated at once, so that he has no chance to regenerate himself on a cellular level. Of course, there's always the option of exploiting his loved ones or teammates in order to lure Deadpool into a trap and even compel him to sacrifice his life.
Why wouldn't you cover that up?
A warrior has nothing to be.
He has certain superhuman abilities alongside his regenerative skills. Besides his ability to heal from just about any injury, Deadpool also has superhuman strength and speed, which makes him a difficult opponent to defeat. Moreover, he also has peak agility and reflexes, and he can dodge attacks on instinct even when he isn't consciously aware of them. In various instances across the comics and the movies, Deadpool has managed to dodge countless bullets aimed at him, and by either using his reflexes to get out of the way or by deflecting them with his sword. Deadpool's body also produces a significantly lower amount of toxins as compared to human beings, which means that he can physically exert himself at the peak of his capacity for a very long period of time before fatigue sets in. He even possesses superhuman durability, and his body tissues and muscles are much stronger than an average human being. Deadpool also has the ability to block any mind control, and he is immune to telepathic attacks. Moreover, he can form telepathic connections with a chain of people whenever he needs to communicate his thoughts. Deadpool is skilled in various combat techniques, such as savate, and is an extremely difficult opponent in hand-to-hand combat. He has managed to defeat a lot of superheroes and villains alike, and he is even known as one of the most skilled fighters in the Marvel Universe. Deadpool is also a skilled assassin, and his skills range from his ability to wield a variety of weapons and firearms to his methods of infiltrating spaces and espionage. An evil Deadpool could be created from his spare parts. A psychiatrist named Ella Whitby once ended up creating an evil Deadpool after she became obsessed with the anti-hero. Ella started collecting Deadpool's spare body parts that had been cut off his body in fights, and she stored them in a freezer with the intention of creating a new Deadpool out of them. However, Deadpool once came across this freezer, and he threw all these body parts in a dumpster. While he thought he was getting rid of the body parts by dumping them, all these spare parts eventually thawed and all came together to form an evil Deadpool, who stirred up quite a lot of trouble for the original one. He can survive decapitations. While most superheroes would require a head in order to be able to function, Deadpool is an exception to this rule, and he can even survive without a head. Even in the case that he is decapitated, Deadpool can function without his head until he finds it again and then reattaches it to his body by using his regenerative healing factor. There is also a question of whether Deadpool's head would grow a new body or if his body would grow a new head. In various comic book instances, Deadpool's body either grows a new head or he simply finds his head and reattaches it to his body. Deadpool can easily survive decapitations because he is immune to any wound, poisoning, or decomposing that could start growing on a regular being's body. His regenerative healing factor also works at a fast pace, which ensures that his head is back on his body before his body stops surviving. Additionally, it is much more difficult to grow an entire body than a head, which means that it is more convenient for the anti-hero to just grow or reattach his head. While there is a theoretical possibility of Deadpool's body growing a head while his decapitated head grows a body, creating two Deadpools from one body is not scientifically possible due to a lack of resources and time available.
And this one.
Deadpool has multiple faces. Before becoming Deadpool, Wade Wilson was a mercenary who often went on high-stake missions that most mercenaries could not handle. In order to be undetectable, Wade decided to keep changing his appearance to keep his identity a secret and get closer to his victims. He then underwent plastic surgery after each mission and kept getting a new face after each killing. Since no one knew his new identity, it was quite difficult to spot him in a crowd or even identify him as Wade Wilson. Sometimes he even took on the face of someone closer to his next victim so that it became easier for him to lure them in. Deadpool only later on started using a mask, but there were rare occasions when he needed to disguise himself without hiding behind a mask. He then used a holographic projector to give himself a new appearance, and in this manner he continued to have numerous faces without having to undergo surgery. Deadpool survived when his heart was ripped out. In one instance, Deadpool's arch-nemesis Ajax ripped his heart out during a fierce battle and left him to die. Though Deadpool has regenerative healing powers, it is still almost impossible to regenerate an entire heart. But the anti-hero managed to heal his heart. Deadpool was so determined to defeat Ajax that he somehow managed to jumpstart his healing factor and regrow an entire heart. This instance is also symbolic of Wade Wilson's life as Deadpool, as he leaves everything behind in the form of his heart and hopes to come back to his old life after his cancer is gone. When he was unable to go back to his earlier life, Deadpool decided to keep going forward, and he even managed to survive countless other lethal injuries. Deadpool faced various head injuries, ranging from the time Thanos crushed his head to the time an anvil fell on his head in the middle of a street. He was ripped apart by the Hulk, Carnage, and even Thor and Luke Cage, but he managed to heal from all these injuries.
Will you, stick it
Marry
in
me?
my-
Can Deadpool have babies? His reproductive system unraveled. In the 2013 Deadpool comics, the writers decided to expand Deadpool's family, and they introduced a surprise daughter named Eleanor, or Ellie. While Deadpool having a daughter sounds like a huge deal due to his cancer, there is surprisingly very little talk surrounding the fact that he has fathered not one, but 3 daughters. Eleanor's conception dates back to the 70s, wherein Deadpool was kidnapped by the villainous White Man, who was a menace to the shopkeepers around him. After being kidnapped, Deadpool came across one of the shopkeepers' daughters named Carmelita, and the two got intimate before they were rescued by Luke Cage. When Carmelita saw Deadpool's real face, she actually even ended up throwing up as she was mortified. A few years later, Carmelita ended up as a hostage in a facility in North Korea by the villain known as Butler. While Wolverine, Deadpool, and Captain America freed the hostages, Carmelita died, and Deadpool confirmed his daughter's existence. Agent Preston got a vision about Carmelita and Eleanor as she set out to find Deadpool's missing daughter. Preston discovered that Eleanor had been taken away by the butler, who had tasked his brother with the responsibility of raising the little girl in a small town in Illinois. Eleanor later meets Deadpool, and she even calls him the best, without being aware of the fact that he is her father. After a while, Agent Preston asked Deadpool to take responsibility for his daughter, while Butler also met with Eleanor and tried to test her for the X gene. It was discovered that she was a mutant, and Agent Preston's family eventually adopted her after Butler's brother passed away. Deadpool even watched over the Preston family and his daughter until he started having memory troubles. He later fathered another daughter named Warder with the monster queen Shiklah. However, both Deadpool and Shiklah ended up abandoning Warder, and she eventually became the active Deadpool of the year 2099. Warder later kidnapped Deadpool and trapped him in a tower until Eleanor showed up in a similar Deadpool 2099 suit and freed him. Deadpool even had a third daughter called Itsy Bitsy with Spider-Man during the Spider-Man Deadpool comic arc. While she was initially a regular human being, she later received some parts of both Deadpool and Spider-Man's DNA, which gave her a wide range of powers. Zombies confirm that he tastes terrible. When Deadpool took on a mission to rescue Colonel Zeke's wife from the clutches of the evil Dr. Lavonzo, he was unaware that he was walking into a trap full of zombies. Dr. Lavonzo had come up with a solution that would keep humans young forever, but the only way to achieve immortality in this way was by consuming the flesh of other humans. Dr. Lavonzo, as well as all of his patients, had become living zombies who consumed other human beings. Since the Doctor could not get away with killing humans in order to get food, Colonel Zeke had sent Deadpool on this mission since he could provide them with an unlimited supply of food due to his regenerative healing properties. Deadpool agreed to the mission because he trusted Zeke, and he then ended up as food for the Doctor's zombies. However, the zombies soon concluded that he tasted terrible and didn't want to eat him. The conclusion. Deadpool has most certainly been one of the most exciting characters in the Marvel Universe, and he is well known for his quirks and unique anti-hero persona. He has one of the most interesting physiologies among famous characters in the world of superheroes, and it is always a treat to know more about him and see him in action in the movies. If you've liked our content, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one. Please be safe. Thank you.